Hey everybody, I was sitting here just thinking about something. Last week, I did a message on John 21. It's just something that the Lord had been teaching me, and I was thinking about it. And I was talking to a friend who I value his opinion highly, and I was just like, so interesting to me that at the end of John, or in the middle of John 21, Peter and Jesus are now. Jesus has died. He's rose from the grave. He's getting ready to ascend to heaven, but he's spending time with the apostles. And he's talking to Peter, and he basically looks at Peter not once, not twice, but 3 times, and he says, "Do you love me?" Once, Peter says, "Yeah, I do." He says, "Feed my sheep." He says, "But do you love me?" "Yes." "Take care of my lambs." 3rd time, he says, "Do you love me?" Peter says, "Yes, Jesus, you keep asking me that." And he says, "Feed my sheep." Not a few days earlier, Peter had, after Jesus had been arrested, had denied Christ 3 times. Now, the Bible tells us that in John 21, this is where Jesus is restoring Peter, restoring him to his calling, restoring him to his purpose, and forgiving him. Now, what I found interesting as I talked to my friend about this, I said, "Why did he say it 3 times?" And he said, a lot of theologians believe this, that Jesus asked Peter 3 times because Peter had denied Christ 3 times. And he knew how much that hurt, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And he said, how beautiful is it that Jesus knew how much Peter was hurting from denying him, and how he had denied him 3 times, and Jesus just met him in those 3 denials by asking the question 3 times, "Do you love me?" It was more of an assurance that Peter was forgiven, that Peter was still loved, and that Peter still had purpose. It was a way for Jesus to say, not only do I forgive you, but go ahead and forgive yourself. He met Peter right where he hurt the most, in those 3 denials, and he forgave him 3 times. He said, he wanted to restore him 3 times because he knew that's what Peter needed. The beauty of following Jesus, for one thing, I believe, is that as big as this world is, and as big as a job that God has, we matter as individuals, that he forgives our hearts right where we need to be forgiven, the way we need to be forgiven, and in the right time for forgiveness. The question I would ask you guys is, do you ever struggle with forgiving yourself? Christ meets you in where you need forgiveness. And I think to fully accept Christ's grace and forgiveness, we have to learn to forgive ourselves as well. In that moment, Peter's struggling still with having denied Christ, and Jesus says, "You're good. I forgive you, and you love me." And he asked him 3 times because he says those 3 denials don't matter anymore. You're restored. That's what Jesus says to you today as well. I hope you believe that. I hope you feel the fullness of his forgiveness by forgiving yourself as well, because Christ meets you right where you need to be forgiven. I don't know who needs to hear that today, but I hope that really penetrates your heart, how much you're forgiven and loved. Have a great day. If you need me for anything, feel free to reach out.